Hi, I'm Professor Silver, and today I'll be breaking down the history of Ash's Dragonite, detailing her transformation from a flightless Dragonair into one of the strongest flying types in all the anime. This video is brought to you by Manscaped. As a wild Dragonair, Dragonite lived on Dragonite Island. The outside world knew little of her home's existence because the Dragonair who lived there used storms to shield themselves from GPS. The island was so well hidden that Ash and Go never would have found it had they not been lost at sea. They arrived at the island in a test in paradise because the island's Dragonite liked to save wayward sailors. Upon arriving, Ash discovered that his future Dragonite was unique from the other Dragonair in that she didn't know Dragon Dance. She was sad about her predicament, as she needed to know the move in order to fly. By helping Dragonair learn the move, Ash earned her affection. It thrilled Dragonair to learn Dragon Dance, but Team Rocket cut short her celebration by kidnapping her buddy. It all worked out for the best though, as during the rescue mission, Dragonair evolved in order to save Ash from a fall. Thanks to her heroic gesture, she earned herself Ash's everlasting friendship. Once the trio was defeated, she hugged Ash, signifying that she wanted to join his team. Ash not only honored Dragonite's wish, but he also promised that he'd keep her homeland a secret. The resulting capture was both Ash's first of journeys and also his first Gen 1 catch in over 2 decades. Before diving into the rest of Dragonite's adventures, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor Manscaped. As you probably know, I tend to bounce between scruff and a fresh shave. Most recently, I transitioned from using a manual razor to Manscaped's Beard Hedger Pro, and honestly, I couldn't be happier. It's cordless, easy to clean, fully rechargeable, and perfectly suited for a quick trim. Thanks to its titanium-coated T-blade, it's tough on hair but smooth on the face. What I love most about it though, is that the Hedger doesn't need any clipper attachments. To adjust its shaver length, all you need to do is spin its rotary wheel and select from 20 available lengths. My second favorite thing about the Hedger is that it's waterproof, so to me, this is an absolute must. If you want a better shave, then I highly recommend getting the Beard Hedger Pro Kit. The kit includes the trimmer itself, a travel case, a comb, scissors, a brush, beard shampoo, beard conditioner, beard balm, and beard oil. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code SILVER at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And now back to Dragonite's history. Leaving home didn't seem to bother Dragonite, as she made many new friends upon arriving at Cerise's laboratory. Starting in Best Friend, Worst Nightmare, she could be seen interacting with the Pokemon that lived there. It was easy for Dragonite to be among others, as like Muck, she liked to hug and be hugged. Her love for hugging was only matched in intensity by her affinity for flying. In the episode The Raid Battle in the Ruins, she gleefully raced Go's Beedrill through the desert and looked downright dour when Ash stopped her flight. That same episode, she teamed up with Go's Darmanitan to weaken the Golurk that Go later caught. The battle glimpsed Dragonite's potential for power. Before debuting her might in the World Coronation series, she further honed her skills by providing utility support. Dragonite searched for Cubone's bone in Raid Battle in the Ruins, tried to hatch Riolu's egg in Caring for a Mystery, and helped save Go's Cascoon in Panic in the Park. Thanks to the experience she gained, she beat both of Korrina's fighters at the Battle Festival in a festival reunion. To beat Mienshao, she traded Dragon Claw for High Jump Kick, protected herself from Double Slap with Dragon Dance, tanked another High Jump Kick, and landed one last Dragon Claw. Dragon Dance also came in handy against Mega Lucario as it boosted Dragonite's stats. Mega Lucario preempted Hyper Beam with Aura Sphere and landed a flurry of blows with Power Up Punch, but Dragonite won anyway using Hurricane and Dragon Claw. By winning the battle, she both avenged Gengar and advanced Ash to the Great Class. Following the match, Dragonite calmed Sobble and There's a New Kid in Town, met the Alolan crew in the New Old Gang of Mine, and competed in an eating competition in crowning the Chow Crusher. Ash expected her to win the competition, but she had a hilariously small appetite. During the Darkest Day arc, Dragonite ferried Ash from location to location until getting one-shot by Eternatus. Even though Dragonite lost to the Legend, she still contributed hugely to Ash's advancing through the ranks of the Great Class. In both Trials of a Budding Master and Beyond Chivalry aiming to be a League Master, it was revealed that she had fought in many of Ash's off-screen World Coronation battles. When Ash received a challenge from Unova champion Iris and Thrash of the Titans, he brought Dragonite along for the fight. During the battle, she first fought Iris's Dragonite. Sadly, her gentle nature was no match for his intensity. After Iris's Dragonite let loose Dragon Rush, he traded Thunder Punch for Dragon Claw, exchanged Ice Beam for Hurricane, and landed Dragon Rush. As a result, Ash swapped in Dracovish. It wasn't until after Dracovish lost to Haxorus that Dragonite finally returned to the field. She activated Dragon Dance and launched Dragon Claw, but Haxorus intercepted her attack, did major damage with Outrage, and alleviated his confusion by hitting his head. It's only after Dragonite mind melded with Iris and learned that battling could be fun that she'd finally turn things around. After tanking Breaking Swipe, she countered Psycho Cut with Hurricane, absorbed Dragon Pulse's energy, and won the battle with newly learned Draco Meteor. Following the battle, Dragonite took a back seat as the spotlight shifted towards Lucario and Gengar. Rather than fight in any major battles, she saved Ash in an adventure of mega proportions, devolved into a Dratini in Showdown at the Gates of Warp, dispersed Magnemite in It's All in the Name, and hugged Clement in The Future Is Now thanks to strategy. Although Dragonite did fight former Hoenn champion Wallace's Swampert in reuniting for the first time, the winner of the battle is entirely unknown as it mainly took place off-screen. It was after a training session with Lucario and catching the Aura of Fate that Dragonite again returned to the field. Unfortunately, her comeback opposite Raihan's Flygon in Aim for the 8 ended in disaster. She repelled Dragon Claw and dodged Steel Wing, but Flygon hid within Sandstorm and landed many hits. Though Dragonite fought back with Draco Meteor, Hurricane, and Dragon Claw, Flygon still won thanks to its hide and strike approach. Since Ash still won the battle and advanced to the Masters 8, Dragonite then shifted focus towards more training. Besides visiting Alola and helping the hometown hero and sparring with her teammates and chasing to the finish, she also trained under many of Ash's flying types and battled Paul's Garchomp in Friends, Rivals, Lend Me Your Spirit. After the two pseudo-legendaries swapped Dragon Claw, Garchomp seized the lead using Stone Edge and Draco Meteor. Dragonite tried to regain the advantage by combining her training with a Draco Meteor of her own, but Garchomp ultimately won the battle as his Dragon Claw took her down in one strike. At the Masters 8, in the episode Bewitch, Battle, and Bewilder, Dragonite opened the semifinals opposite Cynthia's Spiritomb. Instead of establishing Dragonite's valor, the matchup's purpose was to establish Cynthia's champion-level strength. Spiritomb landed Sucker Punch, tanked Draco Meteor, used Hypnosis, and won with Dream Eater. Luckily for Dragonite, Ash went on to the finals where she redeemed herself against Leon's Dragapult. Upon getting summoned by Dragontail and toying with your motions, Dragonite activated Dragon Dance, grew annoyed at Dragon Darts, unsheathed Dragon Claw, and got returned by another Dragontail. Regrettably, Dragonite's return coincided with Mega Lucario's roasting. Upon returning to the match, she weathered Thunderbolt and performed the Dragonite Meteor strategy she used against Paul. While it failed to beat Paul's Garchomp, the move was more than enough to beat Dragapult. It's worth noting that the visuals of the move were highly similar to Charizard's Seismic Toss. With Dragapult finally defeated, Dragonite went on to battle Leon's Rillaboom in pairing Pokemon while parrying. She countered Drum Beating with Hurricane, but Rillaboom thrust her downward. Although Dragonite then countered with the Dragonite Meteor, Rillaboom repelled the blast, flew through Dragon Claw, and won with acrobatics. Part of the reason that Dragonite couldn't land her attack is that Drum Beating slowed her speed. Despite the loss, however, Ash beat Leon, won the Masters 8, and became the monarch of the Pokemon world. As he defends his title, I imagine Dragonite will claw her way towards many more victories. During the Aim to be a Pokemon Master series, Dragonite briefly returned to help Ash reunite a Banette with its trainer and to look for a lost Charmander. As that concludes Dragonite's history to date, let's get to her battle record. Dragonite beat Go's Golurk, Korrina's Mienshao, Korrina's Mega Lucario, Iris's Haxorus, and Leon's Dragapult. She lost to Eternatus, Raihan's Flygon, Paul's Garchomp, Cynthia's Spiritomb, and Leon's Rillaboom. Move-wise, Dragonite used Draco Meteor, Dragon Claw, Dragon Dance, Hurricane, and Hyper Beam. I love Dragonite's personality, but I have to admit, her string of losses really hurt her legacy. She went from slaying Megas and dethroning champions to losing battle after battle. That said, that Ash is a Dragonite in the first place is super cool. As a fan of the show since its inception, seeing Ash with the original pseudo-legendary is absolutely mind-boggling. Beyond losing less battles, I think Dragonite would have benefited immensely from having a different signature move than that used by Gible. That, in an extended arc, would have helped her stand out from Ash's other Journeys Pokemon. On that note, class is adjourned. I want to give a big shout out to Manscaped for all their support. To try the Beard Hedger Pro for yourself, make sure to click the first link in the description. My name again is Professor Silver. Until next time, catch you later.